Everyone, and welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia, and in this week's live lesson, we are going to talk about how to get more speaking practice. So for today's lesson, I have prepared 6 tips that I hope will help you to get some ideas for speaking practice, whether you are studying alone or in a classroom setting, or maybe you have a practice partner. So I hope everyone can find a few tips today. So as you join, please make sure to hit the like button and of course share this video so that other people can find today's lesson. And send a message in the chat if you are joining live too. While we wait, a couple of super quick announcements. The first one is about a special offer our team has prepared for you. If you would like to check out our absolute beginner, super beginner level course, the team has it on the EnglishClass101.com website for you now for free. So if you have been thinking about starting our lessons, taking our video and audio lessons, you can find this for free. You can find all of the details about this course from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook. You will find all of the details on this page. So if you want to take the course, or even just to check like what our system is like, go for it. You can find all of the details here. If you do not have an account, you can make a free account at EnglishClass101.com and find all of this information. So check this out if you want to get our free absolute beginner English study pathway. So I hope that is helpful, of course, for lots of people. That is announcement number 1. Announcement number 2, as always, if you have questions for me, please send them to me. This is a very old screenshot from our weekly question and answer series called Ask Alicia. That's me. I'm the Ask Alicia in Alicia. So if you have questions, please send them to me. I'm always like desperately searching for your questions. So send them to me at the official question submission page, not on YouTube comments or Facebook comments or Instagram DMs or Twitter or I don't even know. Twitch? I don't know. Where do you send them? I don't know. Please send them to the official question submission page where I will 100%, I will definitely see your question and I might choose it to include in this series. So you can find that at EnglishClass101.com/ask-Alicia. That's a very long URL, so you can find the link for this in the YouTube description. Also, if you want to follow me on social media, on Instagram, Twitter, you can find that from the link in the description also. Okay, I think everything is good. Hi, YouTube. YouTube is here. Welcome, YouTube viewers. Hi, everyone. Facebook. Facebook, are you here? Facebook, are you here? Yeah, there you are, Facebook. What's up, everybody? Good. Hi, Dagobert and Braulio and Yulino. Hi. And YouTube, Max, Buenafe, Colas, Anibal, Jonathan, Ben. What's up, everybody? Okay, we are all here. So let's get into today's topic. So if you missed it, today we are going to talk about how to get more speaking practice. So I have prepared about 6 tips to, I hope, help give you some ideas for your speaking practice. So I'm going to like and share this video first, and then we're going to start. Okay, let's go. So if you haven't, make sure to like and share the video too. All right, let's begin. So part 1, let's start with part 1. How do we get speaking practice here? Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is something we talk about here and there in our videos, something that you maybe have seen in your classroom settings as well. It is shadowing. So what is shadowing? A lot of people, maybe it's not super clear what shadowing is. Shadowing is repeating after usually a native speaker. So sometimes, depending on the classroom exercise, it's like repeating very quickly after the native speaker. So the idea with shadowing is that because you are listening to a native speaker say a sentence, you can try to listen and repeat it back very quickly using the same intonation, same pronunciation, of course the same vocabulary words and grammar patterns and so on. So, but I think people are maybe not sure how to shadow or maybe what to think about when shadowing. So here are just a couple of ideas to help you if you are interested or if you want to try shadowing practice. So my first tip is to use a few different kinds of practice material. So for example, movies, TV, YouTube. So not just like your English listening practice audio files, right? So not just the stuff that you use in your classes, but also practice using things that are real world materials, you know? So movies, of course, don't shadow like one movie. Don't choose a whole movie. choose a short scene to practice, yeah? So when I say short scene, I mean choose like a 1-minute section, maybe not a fast section, and maybe not like a science fiction or fantasy movie with strange words, but choose something short that has lots of everyday vocabulary in it, like to practice, yeah? So don't choose, you know, a 30-minute scene in a movie. It's too much, right? Or a 30-minute part of a movie. Choose something short to use to practice. The same is true for TV. So don't choose like one episode of a TV show to practice shadowing. Break it down into small parts. So, and then when you do this, actually this will be in the next section. When you do this, make sure to give yourself time as well. Do it more than once too. So the last one here, of course, YouTube, right? We all have access to YouTube. I like YouTube because there are, of course, many different speakers to practice with. So you can use an English learning channel or a language learning channel like this one, of course. But of course, you can also shadow other creators that you enjoy, right? If you find a different channel that you enjoy, you can use that for shadowing practice too. Someone that teaches, I don't know, woodworking, like making things, crafts or something. You might think, oh, I like the way this person speaks. They're easy for me to understand. Maybe you decide to use that as shadowing practice. So you can choose different scenes, different people to shadow, but it's a good idea to have different things to shadow. So I want to go on to the next couple points about shadowing practice for speaking practice. So one big kind of help, one big thing that helps a lot is scripts. So script here, the script means the written words of what the person is saying. So I know maybe many of you can see on YouTube or Facebook the captions, right, at the bottom of the screen. Those are automatically created, right? A script, however, is separate. So you can find a script if you are watching like a really popular movie or a really popular TV show, or maybe a podcast sometimes too. You can Google like the name of the movie, script, or the TV show, episode number, and the script. And you can find the script to read as you shadow. If you need some help or if you want to check a vocabulary word, you can use the script to help you in your shadowing exercises. But you're supposed to try to, you know, repeat the things that are said quickly and in the same manner as the native speaker. But this can be a really good kind of support resource to use. Okay? And then the last one here is pause and rewind. Pause and rewind. So when I say pause and rewind your shadowing practice materials, I mean, for example, if you use a YouTube video to practice, I mean, stop the video, push the space bar, yeah? And stop the video so you can take a moment to think, you know, practice, and then go back again. So my point here is don't do it just one time, right? Do it a couple times, and then the next day, do it again to review, right? So my point here is don't just go one time and be done, right? We need multiple opportunities, yeah, to get it right. So give yourself opportunities to practice and to perfect, right? To make it perfect. Yeah. So make sure you take the time to pause, rewind, review, do it again. So not just one shadowing session. So these are a few tips for shadowing. Okay. So that is the first tip that I have for today. My second tip then might sound kind of strange, but maybe you'll be surprised. My second tip for speaking practice is talk to yourself. So this maybe you think like that sounds really strange. I don't know. You might be surprised. Like when you are at home or when you're maybe not at school, but usually when you are alone, when there's nobody else around, you can practice talking about your daily tasks or talking about your thoughts, yeah? So by this, I mean, when you, for example, you're making something to eat, you're making a snack, you can think, how would I say this? How do I say this in English? What is the grammar I need to use? Like I am teaching a live lesson, right? I'm using a progressive grammar point there. I am teaching, yeah? So you can think to yourself, how do I explain this activity in the language I'm studying, right? So of course, English. If you're studying other languages, you can do the same thing. So how do you express your daily tasks? How do you express an idea? It doesn't have to be correct either. Don't worry about, is it 100% perfect? The point of this practice exercise is to help you start to think and help you start to get used to making those sounds in English. So it's another way to exercise your brain and to get you practicing more than you were before, okay? So talking to yourself can be a really, really good one. This is also a really good way just to like kind of do pop or like surprise vocabulary quizzes, yeah? Like you open your refrigerator, for example. It's like, can I say the names of everything in my refrigerator in the language I'm studying? So these are all just kind of little everyday things to think about. What's the word? What's the word for this? What's the word for that? So talking to yourself and thinking about these everyday moments can be another opportunity for you to get some speaking practice, okay? So this is another kind of strange, I know, but a fun, sometimes a fun way to practice. And you also can find places like gaps in your vocabulary. Like sometimes I'll do some action or whatever, and I realize like, I don't know this verb. And then I go look it up. I'm like, oh, that's the verb. Okay. Sometimes this is another way for you to find a gap in your vocabulary. So a vocabulary word you need that you don't know. So talking to yourself can be very, very helpful. Okay, great. So let's go to a break. It's time for a break. Those are the first two. I'm looking for your questions. I don't see any questions on Facebook or on YouTube. Let's take a super quick break and then we'll go into tips 3 and 4. So if you missed it, the team has prepared a very special something for everyone who is thinking, for everyone and anyone who is thinking about studying with us. The team now has a free absolute beginner course for everyone. So if you are a super beginner, you can try this course for free right now. You can find this information from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube or above the video if you're watching on Facebook. You will find all of the details on this page. So if you have been thinking about studying with us, if you want to, maybe you're not a beginner, that's okay, but maybe you want to check out like our system, how we do things, you can do that from this link. You can find all of the information here. You need to make an account if you do not have an account, but it is free. So I hope this is helpful for you. If you are a super beginner, super great chance. If you are not a super beginner, but you're thinking about studying with us, you can use this to check out how we do things, okay? All right, cool. So let's continue to parts 3 and 4 now. Also, if you have not, please make sure to hit the like button and share this video so other people can find today's lesson. I will I've already liked it. Can I do it again? Okay, I guess I can. Okay, let's go to part 2 now. So part 2 of speaking practice. So we have already talked about shadowing and talking to yourself. Let's continue to the next point. Number 3, read out loud for speaking practice. So read out loud means you have a book or you have a news article, something. I would not choose like Twitter, social media. Choose a book or maybe newspaper article, magazine article, and read the article out loud, right? So not in your mind, but using your voice. Read the article out loud. You might be surprised that this is kind of challenging. Like, I know for me too, when I read some things, I know what the word means maybe, but when I have to say it out loud, I'm like, oh wait, how do I say this? Like, how do I say this part? I don't know. Like in the other languages that I study, like, oh, how do I say that? I'm not sure. So when you have to not just think in your head about the meaning of the words on the page, but when you have to speak, you can find like, oh, wow, I need to practice. This is a really good exercise for some speaking practice. And you don't have to think, oh, what should I say? I don't know what to talk about. So reading out loud can be a great way to get some speaking practice. So here are 2 tips about reading out loud if you want to use this for your practice. So first is choose text that is your level. Please choose text that is your level. If you are a super beginner, great. Choose super beginner text. Choose a super beginner book or a very easy to understand news piece. Make sure it's your level. Do not choose some university level paper. It's too much. It's too much. I don't want to read a university level paper most days. So choose text that is your level. It should match your level, okay? And the second tip is choose a short section to practice. So for example, if you choose a news article, like, I don't know, 2,000 words or something, that might be a lot. You might feel tired. So choose maybe a couple paragraphs, meaning a few sentences. Or maybe if you want to use a book, you can choose 1 page in the book, right? Again, make sure your practice, the practice amount and the practice level matches your needs, right? Don't sit down, I'm going to read a whole book out loud today. It's not realistic, right? So choose a short section to practice. Inside this short section, you might find new vocabulary words. You might find a word that you don't know how to say, like you don't know the pronunciation, so go look it up, you know? So use these kinds of, practice methods to find parts of the language that you need to work on. So reading out loud can be a great way to do that. Okay, all right, I don't see... Let's see, Kylie on Facebook has a very common question. When we watch English movies, do we need to watch with subtitles or not? So this is a very common question. Subtitles, yes or no? There's no perfect answer here because subtitles are a great tool, right? Sometimes we want subtitles to catch like what the characters say. Even native speakers, sometimes we can't understand the words because it's so quiet or the way the person speaks is so, unique. So subtitles, if you are learning, I think I've recommended this in a past video, but I would say sometimes use them, sometimes don't. Like, for example, the first time you watch something, maybe you watch it with subtitles, you use subtitles, and then watch it again the next day, no subtitles, right? How much did you catch, So don't just watch something for your studies one time. Do it again. So if you have a favorite TV show you like to watch in English, don't watch it just one time, Use that for your studies. So watch it with subtitles and then watch it again without subtitles? How much did you catch? And then go back with subtitles, maybe, see what works for you. So that's usually my answer to that question, subtitles or not. Okay. All right, others. I'm looking for other questions. How can I practice speaking alone? That's what this entire live stream is about. Please watch. Okay, let's go to part 4 now. So we've talked about reading out loud. Next, I want to talk about something I talk about all the time. Record yourself. I recommend this so much for anything you are learning. Record yourself. So when I say record yourself, I mean use a phone, use a microphone, like the microphone in your phone or in your computer. Use this to record yourself speaking, yeah? Or take a video of yourself speaking, something like this, whatever you have to do. I personally like to use video. Maybe I'm used to video, but I know everybody is different. So why do I say this? If you record yourself and then you listen to it later, you can often notice things that you did not notice in the moment when you were practicing. So when you practice, when you say something out loud, you say a sentence or a presentation, you feel like one way. But when you watch it, when you watch a video, you notice things that are different, right? This pronunciation was different, or my speed was different, or this was difficult, whatever. You notice things when you watch a recording of yourself. So this is an excellent way if you don't have a teacher or if you don't have someone else to give you feedback. You might be surprised like how much you notice if you really pay attention to your recording. What you can find. And also, I know many people say, I hate the sound of my voice. I don't want to watch myself in video. Ugh. Okay, you don't have to show this video to anyone else. You do not have to put it on YouTube like me, right? This video is for your studies only. It can be private forever on your phone. You don't have to give it to anyone if you don't want to, right? This is for your studies. So if you think about it in this way, that no, it's private only for you, like a diary, right? Then you can use that as another resource, okay? So when you record yourself, I have a couple tips and some more later. The first one, read text out loud to record yourself. So I talked about this in part 3. When you record yourself, you can read something out loud and practice like that, so you don't have to think about saying a sentence in the moment. So if it's difficult for you to start this kind of practice, you can use reading text out loud to begin. Yeah, this can be your first way to do that. So open a book or news article and read it out loud. That's one thing you can do to start practicing. Another thing you can do to level this up is to practice your original ideas. So I mean, talking about maybe a recent news topic or sharing your opinion about something. Or maybe you want to practice a self-introduction, yeah? So practice your original ideas too and record that. So these are just a couple different, very broad, very kind of vague, but open things that you can do to record yourself. Then a couple more tips I have marked with the star. If you can send your recording to a teacher for review. So if you study with us at EnglishClass101.com, maybe you have the plan with a teacher in the plan. So if you have that level plan, you can send your recordings to your teacher and writing as well. You can send them to your teacher for review. They will give you feedback on, pronunciation, on how you did, and give you some tips, tell you what was good and what you can improve. So you can send these to a teacher, or you can share them with your teacher sometimes for review. If you study with us, you can do that. Of course, if you have a teacher in real life too, you can ask them if they would be okay to give you feedback, but that's up to you and your teacher. My last point here is used for progress checks. So what do I mean by this? So progress checks means you can use your video. Like let's say, for example, today, let's say you pick up your phone, you record a video of yourself speaking about your hobby. Yeah? And then you put it away, you watch it, I don't know, today and then tomorrow. And then let's say, I don't know, next week, you decide, okay, I'm going to practice speaking about my hobby again. So you take another video, practice talking about your hobby. Okay, you check the video. Okay, you practice and improve. You do this, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times a month, a week, whatever it is, I don't know. But my point is, after you do this practice a few times, you will notice your progress. Yeah. So when you go back and you watch the video today, the video from today, and you compare it to the video 1 month from now, or 6 weeks from now, or 3 months from now, you will notice probably, if you have been studying, if you practice regularly, you will probably notice some progress, and you will be able to see it in the video. And that is really, really motivating. When you can see, wow, like, I really did improve. It's hard to notice that day by day, right? But when you have an actual recording, like a video recording of yourself from before, and you can compare it to your, the point you're at in the moment, you're like, oh, that's so cool. I got better. It's a really big motivation boost. So this is another reason that personally, I really like to record myself. I like to use this for music practice and language practice for sure. It's the same thing. Okay. All right. So, Pibro Mario says, do you recommend to read in a loud voice? Not really. I mean, I think you should just read in a normal speaking voice, right? I don't think you need to speak really, really big for any reason. I mean, practice conversation level speech. Yeah, I don't see a reason to practice with a really loud voice. Maybe, I don't know, are you an opera singer? maybe in that case, sure. But otherwise, I would recommend just use a normal speaking practice voice, a normal conversation level voice to practice. Okay, let's take a quick break. Oh my gosh, it's already time. Let's take a super quick break, and then we'll go to the last 2 points, which are very, very short points. So if you missed it, I shared about this before, but the team has a free course. That's right, a free beginner level course. If you missed this earlier, the team has a free absolute beginner, so super beginner, super beginner level English course at EnglishClass101.com. So check it out. If you want to study with us, you can get it for free. You need an account at EnglishClass101.com. It is free to get the account and free to check out the course. So I hope that you do that if you want to study with us and see how it is in our system. Okay, quickly now, let's go to the last 2 points because I'm late as usual. So, the last 2 points, oh my gosh, I can't see. Okay, the last 2 points are very, very, I think, obvious points for sure. Tip number 5 here is about classroom practice. I know some of you do go to lessons with a teacher, which is super, super great. But I want to point out a couple things I noticed when I was doing classroom sessions. So my points here are very easy to understand, I think. The first point is volunteer in lessons. So when I say volunteer in lessons, I mean when your teacher gives an opportunity to speak to the class, take the opportunity. So when the teacher asks a question, volunteer, share your answer. So don't be shy. Your lessons, right? You are paying money for your lessons. You are paying money for the opportunity to practice with a person who is there specifically. Their job is to help you. Yeah? So go for it. Do it. Make use of your class sessions and volunteer. Talk in your lessons. Many of my students, they, at first, usually, over time, they became more comfortable. But many of my students, they come to class but never speak. And so I had to really pull information out of them. You're here to speak. If you don't practice speaking, you will never improve your speaking skills. So volunteer in lessons. Point 2 is practice with your classmates. Like, your teacher, of course, is there to help you and is there to give you feedback and is there to give you new information, yes. But practice with your classmates. They are the same level as you. They understand your situation. They are also learning, right? So they are your perfect practice mates. You need to practice speaking with your classmates too, okay? So those are other opportunities to practice, of course. And the last one is the most difficult one, I know, but it is one that is so helpful. It is immersion. Immersion. So immersion means going to a place where you cannot escape into your native language. So travel is the best way, if you can, of course. I understand travel is not possible for everybody, of course. But if you have the opportunity to travel to a place where English is used everywhere or the language is used everywhere, do it. It's great. It's super, super great. There's nothing else that compares. Other ideas for immersion practice are practice groups, maybe in your city or online. There is a practice group to use the language. And finally, you can also sometimes find restaurants and community spots. So if there's a restaurant that you know is very, very popular in a certain community where lots of people speak that language, you can try to go there, and if nothing else, you can listen. You can at least listen and maybe start to use a little restaurant vocabulary, that kind of thing. But these are just a few ideas for some immersion practice too. So I know that immersion is very, very difficult, and travel, I know, is not possible for many of us. But if you can, this is another super great way to get some practice. Okay, so we'll finish there for today. So those were 6 tips that I hope gave you some ideas about how to get some speaking practice, yeah? So I know that lots of people write, how do I practice speaking? How do I do my, speaking practice? How do I improve my speaking skills alone? So I hope that those 6 tips gave you some ideas, some things that you can do to work on that yourself, okay? All right, so I have to finish up there for this week. So thank you, as always, for joining me live. I'll be back next week, so let me get next week's lesson information. Next week, here it is. Okay, so next week I'll be back. That will be on Wednesday, March 1st at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York City time. If you don't know your local time, please Google it, or you can set a notification on Facebook or on YouTube. Next week, I'm going to talk about daily live questions and answers. Sorry, everybody, let me fix that. I make typos sometimes too. Daily life questions and answers. So we are going to talk about those basic like, what have you been up to, and how to answer those quickly. Those kinds of questions that you hear in everyday communication. So I think that I've done something like this before. I called it like a quick response practice session, but I just want to cover some of those everyday questions that you don't need to think really, really hard about, but learners sometimes kind of shut down. Like, we ask these questions a lot. So I want to practice giving those questions and sample responses for those too. So please join me next week for daily life questions and answer practice. Okay? All right, so we will finish today's lesson there. Thank you, everybody, for joining me live. Thank you so much for liking and sharing the video. Also, don't forget, if you want to get the free beginner level course, please check this out. You can find all of the details for this from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, and above the video if you're watching on Facebook. If you want to get this, you need an account at EnglishClass101.com, but then you can access the full course, the absolute beginner course, for free. So I hope you enjoy that. And if you're not an absolute beginner, you can still check it out and see what our lessons and our courses are like. Okay, cool. So I will say goodbye for this week. So thank you so much to everybody for joining me on Facebook and on YouTube. Have a great day. Have a great week. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you again next time.